Video first.
Beautiful.
3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited for everyone to be here. Oh my gosh. I am Melquea Smith, children's book illustrator. I wear actually a lot of hats. I have to figure out SEO and content marketing and Facebook ads and this and that, and collaborating with awesome people such as Lark and being able to just run a business. And it's a lot while also holding a full-time job. So but all of this, it feeds into each other. My skill sets from running my business also helps my job. My skill sets for my job also help my business. So it flows into it, and it helps this neurospicy brain be able to thrive. So welcome to Content Creation Collaboration. This is going to be an interactive workshop where we're going to figure out who we are, what we do, who we serve, and how we show up online. So let's just jump in. So I want to know, who are you? What do you do? Why the heck are you here? Oh, that sounds so crazy, right? You're just like, wait, you're barraging me already. No, no, no. We're going to keep this super simple. We're going to follow this little framework on the right. So I am a ... Who ... My goal is to ... So for example, who are you? No, no, not I'm a cat mom of two, though it does inform what I post. Who? What's your title? For example, I'm a children's book illustrator. And what do you do? No, no, not watch anime all day. But again, it does inform my future posts. We're looking for super low hanging fruit here. So I'm an illustrator. I make art. And then what's your goal for social media? Okay, so we all know everyone's goal for social media is sales. This does not include sales. It doesn't get to include like getting more followers. We're going to make one goal that's actually altruistic. This goal is going to help others. So my goal when I'm on social media is to celebrate my peers in the publishing and education industry. So why an altruistic goal? This will inform how you interact on your social media platforms, not only while you're posting, but also while you're commenting and sharing other, just like other things that's going on in your social media sphere. All right. So, for an example, I am a baker who posts vegan cake recipes, and my goal is to share local events that my vegan followers would love. Another example, and I picked this from maybe a web designer that I may or may not know. I am a web designer who shares business memes, and my goal is to encourage small businesses to build a website through humor. And as an example for me, I'm a children's book illustrator who shares snippets of my illustration work. And my goal is to celebrate all of my peers in publishing and education. So now it's your turn. I'm going to have like a 2 minute or even just like 1.5 minute, you know, moment where we can just think for a second. And I'm going to mute myself so people can actually think. Share who you are, what you do, and a goal for your social media.
Share. So I am a web designer who specializes working with tiny businesses and nonprofits. And a goal for my social media is to make to connect with tiny businesses and help websites feel easy and maybe a little bit fun.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Does anyone else have something that they're thinking of?
Nice. I see a comment in the chat. Hi,
Really?
I write educational content, humor, and children's books. My social media goal is to encourage homeschooling and travel, especially among single moms. Ooh,
Oh, I'm gonna hold in my excitement. Ooh,
really
oh
good.
my God. Anyway, I'm about to mute myself.
I am a kidlit author. I write children's books. Wait, am I supposed to say it like that? And then, and my goal for social media is to build and participate, to encourage and celebrate kidlit authors.
Yes, this is so beautiful. Oh, I could cry. So for folks who are that are watching the recording, just take a moment, think a little bit about that. We've got some awesome, awesome examples. Candace, I see you unmuted. Go for it.
Hi. I am a community activist and a lawyer. I'm the secretary of a nonprofit that I started with my neighbors and my community. And my goal is to organize the neighborhood and build a sense of community in a unique situation. We have various areas of our neighborhood that we need to get them all together and feeling like one, and that's our goal.
That's awesome. That's perfect. Fabian, go for it.
Hi, I am a professor under the title under which there are many, many subtitles that I will not bore you with, but I also write children's literature. And I uh, write, this summer is going to be a big writing summer, so I write. And my goal for social media is to promote children's literature that celebrates the wide range of human diversity in every form.
Amazing. We have a comment in the chat from Emily. Hi, I'm an autistic, fear-free dog groomer who wants to create a genuine and safe environment for people and dogs. My social media goals are to show off the dogs and friends that I groom and also talk about the disability inclusivity and small businesses. Absolutely beautiful. I love this so much. This is perfect. All right. Does anyone else? I think that's literally everyone. That's beautiful. Thank you all for sharing. Y'all are great. Y'all are great. This is great. So here's an example of some platforms that you can consider for showing up online. I might have missed a few, by the way. So just like you can let me know. But we've got Instagram, which is great for visuals, videos, and photos. Facebook is wonderful for connecting in Facebook groups of your target audiences and building community. Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, the text-based platforms are great for conversations and community building. Pinterest is great for being found through organic search and actually not needing to keep up with comments or keep up with engagement, just in case you're like, I don't really feel like dealing with people. I just want to be found online and have people come to me. TikTok is great for, I don't know, I'm actually not on TikTok, but it is good for being found. It's good for videos. And it's really good for super short form content. YouTube is great for organic search as well. And also for your audience to get you to know you the easiest. I'm a YouTube girly. I will watch YouTube more on my big screen TV than I will watch on my laptop. And I watch it like sports ball. Like I love YouTube. And I feel like I know the folks who are on YouTube more than my own family. YouTube is really great for your audience to get to know you. And if you're okay with being on video or audio or like finding ways for people to engage with your content through video, YouTube is the way to go as well. So when considering a platform, ask yourself these questions. Where do your customers and clients like to hang out? So for example, I'm in the industry of children's books and publishing, and before Twitter became that word, the one letter that we shall not say, we all hung out on Twitter. A lot of us hung out on Twitter, and that was our bread and butter. And that was where conversations happened. That's where we found opportunities. That's where we did our pitching, our pitch events and things like that. So figuring out where our customers and clients hang out is one way of finding what platform that works best for us. What content are you good at? Are you good at writing? Can you write Can you write a 280 character, sentence and it be something that people can engage with? Are you good with your voice? Are you good with video or video editing? Are you great at graphic design? And then what social media platforms are you already on? But most importantly, make sure that you think about what platform is the easiest for you to post on. Because if you're not on a platform that is easy and something that you actually like to post on, you won't be able to stay on the platform. So post in chat, or better yet, come off mute, share your ideal platform. And if you have questions, ask them. We are all here to help each other. Oh, and I can also mention too that the platforms that I'm focusing on. So I'm focusing on Instagram. I got lazy once my industry kind of like fractured and splintered off. We were on Instagram and Blue Sky and Threads and Twitter, and it was just like all over. And I just don't have the energy to get back on another platform. So I decided that a lot of folks still follow me on Instagram, and that's the best way for me to showcase my artwork. So I stayed on Instagram, and that's my social platform. And then my next platform, besides my email list, is going to be Pinterest, so folks can find me through Pinterest as well.
So for me, I worked with my business coach to help me realize that even though I love Instagram for me in my personal life, I really can't stand it for my business. It is a constant struggle to figure out what type of content goes on Instagram and things like that. And so I'm actually really excited to be focusing more on YouTube, which was a big part of how this came to be, of like, hey, let's do this thing and kind of align the things that I want to be doing with people and make it collaborative, and then be able to put it out on YouTube and reach people that way. I'm obviously pretty comfortable appearing on camera, so it works out good for me. But yeah, I just wanted to say it was really cool how finding that right marketing strategy, like for me, of like what feels good and easy, has like changed how I approach my business and like what I'm literally doing in my business to support that. It's pretty cool.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So go ahead.
Oh, I am trying to get on Instagram. I've done 3 posts. 2 of them were the exact same thing because I still don't know what I'm doing.
Yes.
And and I don't know how to make them last for more than a day. You know how they're just there for 24 hours. So I really can't do it without somebody sitting there and showing me. But I'm capable of learning. I'm only part dinosaur. So I want to start learning how to do Instagram.
That's awesome. Already I can say what you're doing is you're posting on stories, and that's that 24-hour thing versus a regular post.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it. You're already on the next slide, by the way, but we've got some other folks that are willing to share.
I was just going to share that I use my Instagram for like both personal and, sort of reposting people's stuff about their books, or people who are like bookstagrammers and their content and stuff. But I'm about to start creating content, and I've decided I'm going to use YouTube for that, because it's just going to be a series of, they're going to be really short videos. So at first I thought maybe TikTok, but I actually think my audience is going to be young children for this particular thing that I want to do. And I think YouTube makes more sense for younger kids.
No, that's perfect. I love that so much. We have 2 comments in the chat. Emily says that dog grooming is all about pictures. So I focus on Instagram, but notice a lot of older clients like to see their dog pictures on Facebook. So I have an auto post there too. Yeah, I know they say like Facebook skews an older audience. I guess I'm part of that older audience because I be chilling on Facebook. I can't stand my Facebook feed because it's a bunch of just stuff that I did not opt into seeing. But I have a few Facebook groups that I'm really active on. And so I'll like bookmark them and join in and just engage in those Facebook groups. And it's a really great way for like local Facebook groups too. Like if you have like a local buy nothing group, Emily, you can always post your dog grooming like business in there. Or or like in any local groups on Facebook as well. Maisha comments, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, which is comfortable for me because I'm not always into being on camera. I feel you. My Facebook friends enjoy following my family adventures and getting writing updates and etc. That's awesome. That's super awesome. Oh, and a lot of older followers get coloring books for their kids. So like, this is perfect. Like, it's the perfect way. I love it. Does anyone else have anything they wanted to share? Please? What's next? Post. That's okay. Not sure what? Don't worry. And the next slide, we'll get into it. But when you post, this is just the best way to just get started. We're going to post a photo and an easy caption. And it's just a way to get used to the feeling of posting. You want to pay attention to what feelings, if any, that drum up. Where do you get stuck? How can you make this easier? How can you eliminate what gets you stuck? For example, for me, writing captions gets me stuck. So I try to actually pre-write my captions, or I'll go be on my phone and I'll use voice to text to say my captions and then edit them. Another way that I get stuck is actually music. When I create my reels or if I create like a post with music on it, music gets me stuck. It's not required, but I like having music on my reels. And most of the music that I actually use is music that I listen to every day. So it's like a little piece of me. So what I do now is while I'm scrolling, endlessly scrolling on Instagram, and I actually hear something I like, I now save those songs to use in the future. So I'm a little less likely to get stuck. So here are some ideas that you can use for your social media. You can post about other people. It doesn't always have to be about yourself. But also, it could be about yourself. You can introduce yourself. You can share your favorite places to work. You can share your workspace, like your like a photo of your desk. You can share a new business discovery. What's something that you just learned? Like maybe you might have been a part of a content creation collaboration workshop and want to post about that. And you might want to tag your favorite illustrator. A wink. You can share your studio assistants, you can share your pets, your littles, or part of your littles if you don't want to like put their whole entire essence online. You can share your plants, you can share your favorite website or your favorite app that you like to use, share one of your favorite resources, something that you wish people would know about your industry. Authors and illustrators, y'all know, just make a children's book. Just make a children's book. It's easy. That's one thing I wish people would know about my industry. It's not easy. Sharing, you could share the one drink that keeps you going, and you can share so much more. So those are a few ideas of what you could share. And then we can go into the next slide. We can talk a little bit about what's TMI. So figuring out what's TMI, which is too much information, it helps add guidelines to your posting strategy on social. So I see my social media as a professional extension of me, considering my goal of always celebrating others in publishing and education. This is one, guideline. And then my TMI area, which is my other guideline. This helps me when I'm posting or when I'm commenting. Everything in between this is all fair game. So for example, a few examples of mine is I don't want to post children's faces, especially my nephews, because I may get disemboweled by my sister. Venting or negativity. The world is already negative. The world already has a lot of venting. I do my best to not add on to that. Raunchy jokes. This is picture books. I don't really do that all the time. So like, I don't want that on my social media. I don't post where I live. People know that I live where I do, but I don't actively post my city. I don't actively post where I live. I don't share my relationship status. Too much swearing, if at all. And anything else I am not comfortable with. You don't have to share everything on social media. You can keep anything you want at any time private. Now, mind you, this isn't always followed to a T. As long as it's related to my art, then I may consider it on a case-by-case basis. So for example, if a nonprofit organization posts a child holding my book and the parent gave consent, they're more likely to post it on my socials. If I illustrate a book and the relationship status of my characters are the same as, as the same as mine, then I might actually share it. And by the way, it's totally okay if your social media does not 100% match your online self. And it's totally okay if it does match your online self. I'll be real. I swear like a sailor. I have too many raunchy reels that are sent back and forth between my friends and family. But my business involves littles, their parents, and their educators. So online, I like to keep that separate. And others may do social media a little bit differently, and that's their choice. All I want for you to do is just to take a moment and decide for yourself how you want to show up online, because it's your choice. So, what did we cover today? Oh my gosh. We got clear on who we are. We got clear on what we do. We got clear on our main goals for social media. We chose a platform. We gathered some ideas on what to post and what not to post. And we did it together, y'all. We did it together. Oh, shoot, I forgot. Hi, I'm Melquea. I'm a children's book illustrator, and I create clip art for educators, authors, and business owners, like what you saw throughout this presentation. Next year is going to be my 10th year in business. Oh my goodness. And I have done it all. I had a YouTube channel. I did Facebook Lives. I was on Instagram. I grew up on the internet. So I posted my art on all different platforms. I taught myself how to be on social media, and I taught myself how to run a business. But I hope this presentation gets you even 20% closer to posting on social media, because every tiny step counts. And if you're already not on my email list, you can get on my email list by scanning the QR code or by going on to bit.ly/tinytalkpk, and it is caps. So like the caps case sensitive. And you'll be able to get on my email list and get 3 free illustrations to jumpstart your social media content. And that's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for being here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Melquea.
Thank
Oh,
you.
man. Melquea, we'll just give you like another little tiny round of applause.
Thank
Thanks so much. Yeah. So I was so excited about this this pairing for Melquea and I, because actually I think it was like while we were talking about the Tiny Talk, and it was like, oh, blogging's not dead. Oh, this will be a perfect one too. So I love I really appreciate the strengths-based approach to marketing. I think that's really important. Like, you have to find what works for you, because ultimately the best marketing channel for you as a solopreneur is the one that you actually do. So, because that just even that is just a big hurdle for people. And as someone who has, some like I think I have a TikTok that I've used 3 times or whatever, and like that wasn't an effective marketing, and that's not TikTok's fault. Like, that's me. So I really love blogging. Blogging has been a really useful part of my business, a really useful part of my website. And I think that there's a lot of misconceptions around blogging. And so I wanted to kind of take some time to think through some of those, share what I've learned about blogging. And really, like, in this like short, the 24-hour story world, right? We have 24-hour stories. We have everything feels like it's short form content. And there's just this big misconception that if someone can't consume the information in, what is a reel, it's like less than 90 seconds or something, or, a TikTok. They're longer now, but I think when TikTok first came out, it was like 30 seconds. And so, I know that there's a lot out there about how marketing has to be really quick, and you have to be really efficient with your time, and it has to be, people are like goldfish. And while that is true, there are also, people are still consuming longer form content, right? People will listen to hour-and-a-half long podcast. Sorry, all I could think of was podcasts that I really dislike. I was like gonna name them, and then I decided like it's not worth it. It's not worth it. You know what? It's not worth it. I'm just saying, people will listen to anything these days. Like, people will listen to hour-and-a-half long podcasts. And so, it just really shows that like there is an attention span. It's just all about positioning, right? It's all about what goes where. The information in an hour and a half long podcast is not going to be the same as the information in a 30-second sound clip. It's just not. So the thing that I love about blogging is that it dovetails really nicely into search engine optimization, which is SEO, right? And that's really just a fancy way of saying, how do people find you on Google? Has Google decided that your website is worth being found? And I know that people tend to get like a little bit scared when SEO comes up because it's this really complicated, really deep topic, and there is a lot to know about SEO. And there's also not a lot to know about SEO. If you kind of understand it at the highest level, you can go pretty far. And then you can always call someone who has a really deep understanding of the technical side of SEO if you find that you need to improve beyond that. So here is, I have a couple of illustrations for you. So here are two refrigerators. One of them, I would say looks a little more appealing than the other, right? So the refrigerator on the right is, beautiful and it's full of all of these fruits and vegetables and broccoli and kale and, all of these things, tomatoes, and it just looks like this luscious refrigerator. You could just open it up, you could make a meal, you could grab something to eat really quick. It's got everything you might need. And then the one on the left has like half an orange and like a gross bottle of mayonnaise that's probably expired, and then like an unlabeled container and 3 eggs. And like, I'm just saying, like, if I'm hungry, I'm probably hoping that my fridge looks like the one on the right. So this is really kind of the easiest way to describe something that I call website density, right? So density means like how full is something. So we've got this fridge on the left that is not very dense, right? There's just a couple things in this big empty space. And then what the website on the right, the refrigerator on the right is very dense, right? And so this is really similar to how Google actually looks at your website. So when Google is crawling your website, it's looking at your website. One of the things that it's looking at is how dense is your website? How much stuff do you have in there? Are your pages really interlinked? If your website just has, like 2 or 3 pages and nothing really flows from one to the next, Google will kind of assume that maybe your website isn't very healthy, right? Like between these two fridges, like we might say the one on the right is like a healthier fridge, just because it has more stuff. So Google will look at your website and say, I think if this was like a real person, not an AI robot, I think if this was a real business that people really relied on, their website would probably just be more dense by now. They would have a healthier website. So we always want to be like striving to have our website be really well linked. So our pages flow from one to the next. Our products are linked in lots of places. People can click around, they can have a whole journey. So that's website density within your own website. I promise we're coming back to blogging. Okay, and then the second way to think about density is something I call internet density, right? So this is where backlinks come in. So backlink is just a fancy way of saying what other websites out there can people find your website on? So that's why it's always really important on anything like LinkedIn, anything like Instagram, anywhere where you are, make sure you have your website linked, not just so people there can find you, but because it will help you with this internet density, right? It will help Google see, oh, this person's website address appears in a bunch of places. They're probably more legit. It's a great reason to make friends with other people doing really cool things so that you can link to each other's stuff, right? Because again, you're showing Google, like, I'm a real person. We're real people. We're doing these real things. So my picture example here is like this beautiful, lush, dense, interconnected forest on the right. And then on the left, it's like 3 trees. They're sort of like, like if you were, I don't know, if you were like a squirrel and you were trying to move from tree to tree to tree, right? Like a person on the internet, you would much rather be on the forest in the right than in these 3 trees on the left. And again, that's kind of how Google and other search engines like to think about internet density. So they're always wanting to prioritize in the search results websites that have shown that they're really dense, they're really well connected on the internet. Okay, so back to blogging. So the reason that I love blogging so much, now that we've had that little SEO primer, is that a blog is an amazing way to increase your website density without sacrificing having a really nice, tidy website, right? So we want a website that's really clear, really clean. It just shows people exactly what they need. It doesn't show people a bunch of stuff they don't. And that's a little tricky to do if you're focused on having 100 pages on your website. So when you focus on having a blog, right, that's really easily organizable content on your website. So that's kind of how we build up that density without sending people in 100 directions when they're on our website and they're just trying to figure out, how do I give this person money? We always want to make sure people can do that if that's what they're trying to do on our website. Um, so it's also a great way to add sort of a targeted landing page for specific client bases. So the way that I choose to organize my website, for example, I offer a service called a 2-week website. And I will build a 2-week website if you're a nonprofit. I will build a 2-week website for you if you're an artist or if you're a coach or, you know, a musician or whatever. Like I am agnostic in who I will build websites for. But that makes it like kind of hard for people to find me. So what I can do is I can create blog posts that are really well fleshed out for specific people. So like top website tips for coaches. This is a blog that's actually like I'm about to hit publish on right after we get out of here. But so top website tips for coaches, right? And this is a great super specific keyword that like coaches are actually going to Google and saying like top website tips for coaches, right? And then I'm right there and ready to serve them my blog post. So you can get really specific. It gives you that awesome link building capability, right? So guest blogging for other people, inviting other bloggers to guest blog on your blog, doing some of that link building, both externally and within your own website. Blogging can be fun, I promise. Especially for people who like writing, you know, it can be a great way to like really get in the flow and really engage with what you do and why you do it. It's super repurposable, right? And it's evergreen. So unlike things like Instagram, Facebook that are really algorithm driven, and like your video is gonna kind of like it's still there, but like no one's gonna see it after the first couple days that you've posted it, right? So you can always have that content to come back to. And then even if it's not a great SEO strategy for you, which certainly can happen, it can be an awesome way to just build trust with people, right? So sometimes when I am in the sort of like sales connection stage with a potential client, if they have a question, it's a great thing when I can be like, oh, you know what? I wrote a blog post about this. Let me send it to you. That's invaluable, where they know that I've already kind of anticipated because I've worked with enough people to kind of know what the common questions are. And then the other thing is that it's a living thing on your website. So it's always looks new. It indicates to people that you're active in your business. If you were here last month or you've checked out my awesome website, my awesome homepages guide, then you'll know that I'm a big fan of like having something alive on your homepage is really important. So these, and I'll send this all to you afterwards, but I wanted to just share some of the important tips because there are like a few things that are kind of important. I've noticed sometimes, like now that Facebook and Instagram have really trained people to write short form content, sometimes people think that just writing short form content and putting it on your blog is good, and it's like it's not quite apples to oranges. So blogs really are meant for long form content. So 700 words is like the absolute minimum. If it's anything less than that, it's just probably not a good fit for a blog. Um, a 1750 to around 2000 words is what really drives the best results for blogs in search engines, which, by the way, is why every recipe on the internet has like someone's life story before they'll tell you how to make chicken. So this is why. So I hate it. I hate it so much, but this is why they do it. Because that is what will get them served the best in Google. So yeah. So don't be afraid if you're a wordy person. Blogs are great. Go for it. Make it dense, right? Make sure you're linking to your other pages, other services, reference other blog posts that you've written. You want to really use those blogs to build up that website density. Make sure you have a call to action, right? People are there. They're wanting to know, what do you do? How do you do it? How do I hire you? How do we work together? Tell me about that membership you've got, so make sure you're always including and like plugging the things that you do. And you can do that organically, right? So you can put that like in a sentence, or you can do it as like a little commercial break in your content, which is kind of nice actually. I know it sounds cheesy, but like literally just having a little break in your blog and saying, "Oh, have you signed up for my newsletter yet?" Cool, sign up for my newsletter, then scroll on. That can be a nice way to help people kind of keep reading. Original images whenever possible. So this is a great, and this is, I love like, this is a creativity thing, right? If you are taking pictures of the work that you're doing, throw those in your blog, this is a great place for those like little desk behind the scenes, like this is what my workspace looks like, things like that. It's a great place for stuff like that. You certainly can use stock images, but in general, like you're going to want to use 5 to 8 images in a long form blog post. And just, yeah, don't be afraid to use non-perfect photos that you've taken or of yourself. Those are really great. Or of your, dogs or clients or whoever your clients are. And then if you have a really SEO forward blog strategy, right? If your intention is that people can find you on Google, just make sure you're using those keywords. And the keyword just means, what is someone typing in Google to find you? So you'll want to use it in the blog title, in the URL slug. So on my website, it's larkaboutdesign.com/blog/ and then the name of the blog. Sometimes like especially Squarespace will generate this kind of like jumble of characters for your URL slug. It's always worth going in there and changing that to be the blog title. And then alt text, and that's kind of like that's like the most technical we're going to get today. But alt text is what describes your image both to screen readers. So if someone is blind and accessing your blog, they'll still know what the picture is. And it's also what describes to Google what your pictures are. So always worth taking a few extra minutes to add alt text to your website images. And then integrate your other marketing, right? So YouTube, if you have an Instagram feed, don't be afraid to put those things in your blog. And then what blog? And I know, Melquea did an awesome job, and a lot of the like content strategy stuff is really similar. My kind of 3 approaches are, if you're a person who loves writing, just go for it. Like, just go for it and see what works. Have fun with it. Enjoy writing some longer form content for a change, and just use your own creative process. Trust your own creative process to see what you like and what you don't. If you want a little more structure, if you need a little more structure, or after a certain time you realize you want that, I recommend picking like 4 or 5 content pillars. And those can be as closely related or as loosely related to your business as you want. So, one of mine is neurodivergence. That doesn't really have a lot to do with web design, but it has a lot to do with me. It has a lot to do with who I work with. So that's one of mine. And these can change over time. And some of them I've started and I wrote one blog post and I was like, hate that, never doing that again. No big deal. Nobody cares. There's no rules. No one is like paying close enough attention to your blog that they're gonna be mad. It's okay. And then keyword research is really important. If your blog is about that really SEO first strategy. So there's a lot of different tools that you can use for keyword research. And again, keywords are just, what are people typing into the bar to find you? This is a great application of AI. So if you're interested, I know people have different feelings about using AI tools, but SEO is a wonderful place to apply AI tools. There's plenty of AI-powered SEO services that they'll literally give you like 2 or 3 suggestions a month of like, these are blog posts you should write based on who's coming to your website, based on what they see. Here's 3 blog posts you should put up. Which is great. And then you can just go back and be the human that actually writes it, or fills the content in, or whatever. But yeah, it's so much data when it comes to SEO, and so having a machine just look at the data is really helpful. Yeah. Cool. And then my last tips, reuse, repurpose, repost, right? So blogs, that's kind of the whole thing, right? It's a ton of content. It's a bit of a heavy lift, right? It's going to take you longer to write 2,000 words than a Facebook post, but they're way more useful in the long run. Never be afraid to change up your strategy and make pivots. And then revisit old blogs to find new gold. Sometimes you'll find that you wrote a blog a year ago that somebody asked you about yesterday. So that's always really helpful, right? That's the beauty of evergreen content. It's still there. You can make a 2025 update, all things like that. It's just super repurposable. And then pay attention to your analytics, right? So actually look at the data of what is bringing people to your website. For example, so the most common way that people find my website is that I wrote a blog post a year ago called "Does My Small Business Need a Website?" And that was like before I was thinking really heavily about SEO. I just wrote that blog post and put it up there and then looked at it over a while. And I was like, wow, people are still finding that. And like more than ever, like that is how people are finding my website on Google. So, but I would never know that. I honestly would have completely forgotten about that blog post because it's not even one of my better ones. So I only noticed that because I looked at my analytics. So really like finding the value of your blog in order to find your motivation is my last tip. So really understanding why you're blogging, why you're putting the time in to write this and put these things down and figuring out the little like finicky bits of the alt text and all the little details. If you really can hang on to like why you're doing it and what its value is to you and your business, I promise that will make it so much easier. So that is everything that I have for you today about blogs. I wanted to let you know that I am launching a website, awesome websites membership in a couple weeks. And it's going to be filled with lots of, hopefully digestible, hopefully easy to understand. I really love breaking down kind of technical, complicated things into like picture a forest. So if that's your jam, I would love to have you in there. I will make sure that you get a little discount code to that awesome websites membership because I can't wait to launch it and I'd love to have you there if you're interested. Yeah, thank you so much. All right. And like I said, I'll be sure to send out this presentation too. So you've got all those little finicky bits to review and reference later. Awesome. Are there any questions about blogging that I can answer for you?
Yay. Thank you for being here, everyone. This was so fun. Thank y'all for just chilling with me. This was great.
Thanks so much. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.